The post-apocalyptic trope in media has been beaten to death in recent years, especially with media like Last of Us, Walking Dead, practically every horror movie at this point, etc., etc. Yet, there's one trope that goes along with it that makes sense yet is rather poorly done in a vast majority of them. The adoptive father-daughter trope is the elephant in the room I'm talking about. And while of course any half-baked Last of Us fan could have told you that, the problem is that this setting, in my opinion, hasn't ever been truly explored to its full value yet. And what I mean by that is, none of these pieces of media have ever made me feel the warmth of humanity. Eastward is a game about a scraggly adoptive father figure and a cute white maiden daughter who meet by chance one day in the abandoned train tunnels of a long destroyed humanity. John, the adoptive father figure, lives in one of the last true bastions of humanity underground, after the humans were chased there many years ago. And he lives a relatively quiet life with Sam in his small, quaint house on the edge of town. John is a fierce miner and an even better fighter, and strives for nothing more than to just make Sam happy. In the beginning of the game, John and Sam are inseparable, as Sam even accompanies John to his work, where John practically does all the work while all the goon squad does is watch him. One day though, after Sam was permitted to enter her school, she starts seeing visions of another version of herself, a version which has a deeply ingrained hatred and disregard for others. This version of Sam seems to be well informed of the true situation going on in the world, and leaves us and Sam ultimately confused and scared. The vision Sam sees on her second day of school, however, pushes her to the edge, where she does the forbidden. She treads into the lands forbidden by their society, and makes her way for the surface. John follows after her quickly, and they run into various problems with dangerous enemies and traps along the way, which leaves John in a state of near death. After the goon squad saves John, after he passed out, Sam and John are imprisoned by the town after treading into the Forbidden Land. John breaks out of the prison, and once the mayor finds out, Sam, John, and their cellmate Jasper are fed to the monstrosity known as Charon, which turns out just to be a train, and they make their final real escape from the underground onto the surface to find the state of humanity. Eastward is an RPG storytelling game, except it has a heavy emphasis on the story. This game is primarily about the long twisting story, with the gameplay really just being a complement to it. The game itself has only one difficulty, and it isn't even really all that hard except for in a few places. Yet the gameplay is extremely satisfying with a lot of really cool side mechanics. The game gives you a few different weapons you can explore and play with. You obtain them through the story, and they gradually increase the difficulty of the enemies as you get more weapons. The game is like Breath of the Wild, in the sense that you have to get heart orbs to gain more hearts, unless you beat bosses, which also gives you hearts. This game also has probably my favorite mechanic yet, which is the cooking mechanic, which also provides a small gambling slot machine game that will increase your hearts that are restored by your food if you win it. It's honestly the best part of the game, and I honestly am not addicted to gambling, but I also honestly did not just play this game because I saw this mechanic online. This game is extremely refreshing to see, especially in the indie RPG community, as you always see big companies like CD Projekt Red or Nintendo making unique RPG mechanics, but never the indie ones, especially considering the indie games are all about their gimmicks. Regardless, where are my manners? I am missing a large portion of the gimmicky uniqueness of this game. Earthborn. It's the in-game RPG Sam is obsessed with, that is about you rescuing a princess from the evil Demon King, and it's literally an entire actual Game Boy original RPG. I mean, there are playthroughs of it online that are hours long, and it's hard to beat, oh my god. And just when you think there couldn't possibly be more content packed into the game, they literally drop a DLC about farming, and it's ironic because the game shares a publisher with a rather popular farming game. I haven't personally played the DLC yet, but the reviews from the people who have say it's literally just another game added onto the base game for a fraction of the original price. With all this put together, I can definitely say that this game is one of the best gameplay experiences I have ever seen. My time playing this game was phenomenal. It reminded me of when I first played games like Earthbound, Undertale, Final Fantasy VII, etc., etc. The reason why it reminds me of these games is due to the creative story that left me lost, yet answered all of my questions. The part this game does differently, but perfectly, is its modern touch on its gimmicks, like its Earthborn side game, or its literal full-on farming simulator DLC. The experience I had of this game was extraordinary in ways I believe only you can explore if you play it for yourself. The game itself isn't expensive in the slightest for the 30 plus hours of playtime you obtain from it. I only paid around $12 personally for it, and that was without the DLC, and it was worth every penny, trust me. Eastward's tropes of its apocalyptic world and its father-daughter bond are wonderfully done, almost perfectly in ways other games aren't able to replicate. Even some AAA studios aren't even able to replicate it. This game I've only heard of recently surprised me. It was a shock to me to find out I have never heard of this game, even though it was produced years ago during the height of the pandemic. Eastward, like many other games, make me feel emotion, but what makes it different from the others is it makes me feel a unique feeling of love, a feeling I could only ever hope of having one day. The love a father has for his own daughter.